Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new season of The Committee Reads! This season is subtitled On the Road to 164. I am your host KWCs, and with me today, I have the man that will start and end this season, Grayshot151, GVR, and Nagoda. And today, we'll be going over Match 151, Kiryu vs. Desghidorah, by Tyler Treeshock. Continued for match 146, so please check that out at your leisure. A flash of light greeted Akane Yashiro, and wind rushed past her as she exited a Japanese aircraft. As her eyes adjusted to the new landscape, foreign features gradually materialized. The runway she yeah, I know, if it were a runaway, that'd be a different story. The runway she currently stood upon led to an aging yet still running installation with troops running drills in every direction. Foreign troops marched in unison, their attire far different than that of any Japanese soldier, with a capital S, until a familiar figure walked past the running masses with a smile. His white hair and slightly wrinkled face did not hide his identity, but it did cause Akane's memories to spike as she delved into their once close past. "Greetings, Akane. It's so nice to see you again," Tokumitsu Yuhara stated with a large grin on his face as he approached her. "Apologies for the short notice and the flight, and probably a lot of things I'm forgetting to say." Akane returned his warm greeting with a smile of her own. "It is nice to see you too. Were you ordered here as well?" "No, but I am the one overseeing this joint operation between Japan and the United States," Tokumitsu explained after signaling her to follow. Have to pay for Sarah's education bills somehow." After passing multiple security officers as well as a large group of engineers, Akane followed Tokumitsu to the structure, curiosity overcoming her senses to stay quiet as they maneuvered farther into the industrial complex. Akane asked, "What is this place? Why was I ordered here?" Tokumitsu turned around as he walked and explained, "It's an old construction site we created in the 90s for a previous project. And for your second question, you were always the closest to our ghost in the shell." Hey! Anyway. Akane's eyes widened as she realized the true meaning of the sentence. The sense of trust in her friend vanished instantly, and a look of frustration formed. Akane fell silent. Tokumitsu, seeing the anger in his friend's eyes, remained so as well until a light appeared at the end of their hallway. As they ventured forth into the new area, the massive form of Kiryu greeted the pair as they stepped into a maintenance walkway. "All it wanted was to be left in peace, and you resurrected it again," Akane whispered just loud enough for Tokumitsu to hear. Her fists clenched with fury as she thought of the situation further. "I thought you of all people would understand that this is wrong, especially because of your daughter," Akane noted, only to look into Tokumitsu's eyes to see no regret, grief, or anger for what he had done. The scientist merely looked onward at Kiryu, contemplating his next words carefully. "I did this for my daughter, Akane. I would do anything to protect her future," Tokumitsu countered in an uncharacteristically sad tone before he looked at Akane directly. "As much as I want to remain the bright optimist of years prior, recent events have made it clear we need every ally we can acquire. Though I nor our country forced Kiryu to return, it wanted to." Confused and bewildered by her friend's statement, Akane asked, "What do you mean?" Tokumitsu slowly recovered his face composition before he slouched on the walkway's railing and stated, "Kiryu was found about 3 years ago on a remote island's coast. The Prime Minister himself ordered it to be returned to the trench from whence it came, but then we found some startling information. Engineers entered to ensure it would not move, but they found their work already accomplished. Wires essential for the ghost in Kiryu to control itself were burned away due to an internal overcharge. The engineers concluded it was self-inflicted, but then they found something else. A message which read, 'Japan, I am your shield. I am your sword. Then if you...
Convenient.
That says you.
Oh yeah, I am you, shield. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I misread that. Then if you...
It was damaged, it was
that's exactly what happened here. In universe, it makes perfect.
Kiryu took a hit on the head in the ocean.
He was burning away his brain, technically, so I guess it makes sense he makes some mistake.
Then a few other messages appeared at the Prime Minister after a long meeting with the Cabinet of Japan. Rescinded? What is that word? Okay, rescinded? I said... Okay, cool.
Yeah. Rescinded.
Prime Minister.
Rescinded his previous order and demanded Kiryu to be brought back for repairs. The action was codenamed Project Revenant to confuse Chinese vessels in the area, which brings us to today. It's undergoing final repairs to its new Absolute Zero cannon. You know, the cannon to the Absolute Zero, of course, not the actual weapon.
The Absolute Zero head cannon.
After repairs are complete, he will be sent on a mission to northern Canada. We were hoping you would pilot Kiryu again, but from the inside. We might have it back in our control and ensured its connection severed. But the Shirasagis have proven unreliable in extreme situations, unlike yourself, which is why I am asking you, will you please return? Akane's fist slowly unclenched and her gaze shifted toward the machine. Why does it want to fight? Did it not want peace? Probably got bored at lying at the bottom of the sea. Tokumitsu laughed, back in his usual character. With little resentment in her voice, Akane looked back at Tokumitsu and said, "Alright, I will pilot Kiryu." Tokumitsu smiled before an engineer ran toward the pair. "The cannon is online, sir. It's always online, son," remarked the American as he panted from the long run.
That's how you know it's an American.
Fair enough.
Because he couldn't run very far.
Was he fat? Anyway. Good, Tokumitsu responded. Tell everyone launch will be occurring in the next few hours. Roger, the man yelled before he ran back out the door he came in. Akane looked at Tokumitsu with disbelief, only for Tokumitsu to say in defense with a smile, "You said you were ready, and besides, your friend is eager to return as well. Pass."
The snow-filled winds of the Canadian mountains pounded the two Shirasagis that carried Kiryu through the hills. Akane, from Kiryu's cockpit, stayed focused on the scanners for the apparent monster that was supposedly hiding in the winter wasteland. "See anything yet, Akane?" Susumu Hayama questioned from his Shirasagi's control seat. "Maybe stuck with you again, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be risking my neck this time around for some half-assed strategy." "If I recall correctly, you created that strategy," Akane retorted as she ignored his usual brashness. "But nothing as of yet, though this creature... Do you know its identity?" "Oh, that's right, you weren't at the briefing," Susumu snipped. "Well, a mineral company ignored some type of shrine and busted open a monster's tomb. A monster, which is yet to be confirmed, killed most of the excavators, except a few witnesses. They describe it as a massive dragon. Considering they were in shock, I would not take the account seriously. They also said it had a dozen heads." "Sounds like I didn't miss much then," Akane responded. "Huh, well, we weren't even supposed to be here, but some fiasco is occurring in the Pacific, and the team that usually handles this shit isn't available. Probably some political cover-up, if you ask me." "Well, at least
Darn
it's not
liberals.
Wait, what?"
Is it darn liberals?
Yeah, the Heat team, those darn elemental or environmental liberals.
They're literally environmentalists. They're totally on the liberal spectrum. Totally. Anyway.
Well, at least it's not Godzilla, the Shirasagi pilot countered over the radio. A silence then followed between Susumu in addition to Akane before Susumu's voice could be heard whispering so low that the radio barely picked it up. Unfortunately. With a hint of annoyance in his voice, Susumu continued, "Well, we are stuck with the problem now. Though whatever it is, it couldn't have gone far in this type of weather, and we just arrived." As the two Shirasagis as well as Kiryu passed over the top of the mountain's peak, the storm around them disappeared slightly, revealing a large valley in addition to a massive, almost vertically flat wall of ice that stood perpendicular to the valley. At its bottom, a relatively small hole to the rest of the feature reflected to the world the monster's tomb. "This is it," Susumu stated before he peered at the valley below. "Any signs of this thing?" "Nothing on the normal scanners," Akane stated over the radio as Kiryu's sensors finished their examination of the valley. "Nothing but snow and ice, at least. Running thermal scans now." "Well, let's hope this thing shows up soon. I will admit, I did miss movement," Akane yelled over the radio, only to hear a scream and then an explosion. The Shirasagi holding Kiryu's abdomen suddenly burst into flames as a massive blur flew past the two remaining machines. "What the hell was that?" Susumu screamed before he felt his Shirasagi slam downward. The pilot's head snapped backward, and the sound of metal screeching echoed from his vessel. Susumu grimaced as he struggled for control. "Damn that thing! Too much weight for me to hold!" The two cables holding Kiryu suddenly snapped, and the cyborg activated its own thrusters. The massive machine glided toward the ground as Susumu leveled out. As he looked around the cockpit to find the beast in the blurry skies, Susumu proclaimed, "Where the hell are you, damn it?" A powerful series of shrieks then filled the air, and Susumu focused on its source to find out what had attacked them. A large, black, three-headed dragon with demonic features as well as red eyes appeared out of the white void he floated in. With little time to do anything, Susumu could only watch the dragon prepare to ram the Shirasagi. As the beast was about to impact the flying transport, Kiryu suddenly reappeared and slammed into the dragon. Susumu, stunned by the action, remained motionless as he watched Kiryu slow to a hover in front of him as the flying demon plummeted toward the ground. "Susumu, snap out of it!" Akane cried before she shouted. "It's called Desghidorah. I'll get it grounded and you assist with covering fire." "Roger," Susumu angrily replied as he snapped out of his trance and flew the Shirasagi out of sight. Akane focused on Desghidorah, who easily recovered and now angrily flew toward Kiryu. Her mind raced with facts.
Wrong.
100 meters long, 75,000 tons, three-headed flame. Hey, this is before the update. Three-headed flamethrower with a bark as worse as its bite. Know your enemy. Battle is a necessary key, and something she only wished she had possessed so many years prior. Kiryu jettisoned toward the dragon as all three of its heads illuminated with red power. Energy blasts exploded across Kiryu, but the cyborg's armor withstood the barrage. Then as the two passed within meters distance of each other, Kiryu unveiled one of its hidden blades to the fiery dragon as it sliced off a chunk of its left wing. The three-headed beast bellowed in agony, but the wound was not yet enough to take Desghidorah out of the harsh skies. With the element of surprise lost, Akane piloted Kiryu to the valley below. As the machine touched down, sending a cloud of snow around it, Desghidorah re-engaged with its mechanical foe. A blast of energy strafed the machine, encompassing Kiryu in explosive fire. As Desghidorah started regaining altitude for another assault, Akane targeted its damaged wing with Kiryu's heat-seeking missiles. Pass.
Well, just real quick, I want to say, like, the
Well, yeah, I know that
75,000
one
tons thing
wasn't, but
technically isn't
it
inaccurate.
was funnier to say it after he said it. So, you know.
No,
Yeah.
no, Kaiju.
Well, yeah,
wrong.
no.
I'm
I knew
actually
the
right now,
75,000
so,
ton thing would be right because I haven't changed that. It was just the length.
Okay. This is for the pilot you killed, Kane remarked as she launched the explosive arsenal. 16 missiles fired out of Kiryu's shoulder, packing into the cold sky before impacting Desghidorah's damaged wing. Not Desghidorah,
fair
just
enough.
Desghidorah damaged wing. The explosions caused the weakened wing to fracture and permanently ended the dragon's flight. The three-headed beast cried in anguish as it fell from the sky like a rock before impacting the ground at the edge of the high cliffside. The hard ice fractured but stayed firm until the cyborg unleashed its arm cannon's impact sight. Cannon with 2 ends instead of 3. The ice fractured under the dragon's weight, causing the fiend to slip over the edge. Desghidorah continued its fall, impacting the half-a-mile-long wall a few times before finally crashing at the foot of the massive feature. Kane smiled in satisfaction from her foe's trip just as it turned toward her. Kiryu, it's time to end this, Akane affirmed as she activated the Absolute Zero cannon. You just don't
Apparently
spell cannon
not.
right in this one, do you?
Nope.
I'm gonna keep pointing it out.
It's actually a trademark. So there was another Absolute Zero cannon with 2 ends, and I actually trademarked this one. That's why,
Well,
you know.
well,
Okay.
it doesn't
Gotcha.
Copyright laws.
Copyright laws.
Yeah, are you going to mess with the Japanese and their copyright laws? I don't think so, sir.
No, Toho's lawyers are scarier than Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think they keep Godzilla in line?
Kiryu's chest cavity opened up and a massive swelling of blue energy started forming. Desghidorah, still recovering from the fall and confused, stared at it with wonder.
Lordy.
Then, as Akane ready to press the firing button, warning sirens lit up the cockpit. The pilot scrambled for a solution, only for the absolute zero cannon to shut down. Desghidorah's three heads snapped out of their trance, and the beast started charging. "What's going on?" Akane exclaimed before she realized Desghidorah was closing in on Kiryu. The dragon ready to grasp the machine, only for red lasers to blindside the beast. "Payback!" Suzumu yelled over the radio as he unleashed concentrated fury on the dragon. With a new foe to deal with, Desghidorah unleashed its triple gout energy blast into the air, which the Shirasagi... that was my fault. Shirasagi dodged.
Don't worry, man.
Shirasagi
is really tricky to pronounce because I always want to say like Shiragagi or Shiradagi or something like. Shirasagi is Baradaki?
Baradaki?
Okay, yeah, no,
here?
he
he's
died
dead.
just as uselessly as he lived. Anyway.
"What's going on, Akane?" Suzumu questioned as he engaged the beast. "Why haven't you fired the absolute zero? I have this thing pretty distracted and I'm not even in its mouth." "Some type of malfunction," Akane responded as she meticulously scanned every system for errors. "The engineers must have installed absolute zero incorrectly." "This is why we didn't made in the USA," Suzumu angrily exclaimed.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'll give you that one. That's a good line.
I don't think it's ever stated, but I had this thing. I had Kiryu being built in Detroit, so I just it was I whenever I made this match, I just imagined that. It's just like, oh yeah, faulty manufacturing.
Can't have shit in Detroit. Suzumu angrily exclaimed before an energy blast impacted his Shirasagi's wing. Fire vented from the machine's ports and a large smoke trail followed the aircraft. "Damn it! Well, that is all I can do. You will have to finish the fight without the cannon," Suzumu declared as he left the area. "By the way, try not to die. I'd rather not have my last mission be me getting my ass kicked." Akane smiled as she overheard the final statement. "I won't," Akane affirmed as she prepared Kiryu to fight Desghidorah. With his newest foe gone, the dragon remembered his old foe and turned to face it. He had achieved freedom by random chance, and nothing was going to take that away from him. No longer would he be imprisoned in an icy tomb. It would rather die than go back, and nothing would ever cage it again. In a demonstration of its true power, Desghidorah lifted itself while roaring into the heavens, before slamming its front two legs down on the ground. The ground in front of the beast cracked and a massive blaze erupted, turning the icy wasteland into an inferno. You'd think that would have, ecological consequences.
Oh yeah, those
volcanic fault line in the Arctic.
Yeah, those worms, those ice worms are really screwed. They're the local. They were endangered. Now they're just going to go extinct.
Guma. He was just sleeping, and now he's in a volcano.
I feel like ocean levels are going to rise a little bit from this. Kiryu's side thruster suddenly ignited and the cyborg blasted right as he dodged the attack. As the robot skidded to a stop, Kiryu's shoulders erupted with rockets as well as missiles, and its arm cannons unleashed a powerful barrage of energy bursts. Desghidorah shrieked in pain and backed away from the powerful assault before charging through the attack at full speed. Missiles, rockets, and lasers were nothing compared to what it had suffered for millennia, or the suffering it would unleash upon Kiryu. Over-encumbered with equipment, Kiryu braced itself as Desghidorah grabbed onto its two arms and neck. A minor explosion detonated on the machine's left arm as its cannon detonated. As a small explosion did little to loosen the dragon's grip. Move infinitely worsened as energy began to discharge from Desghidorah's maws. Sirens wailed and buzzed from the robot's cockpit as Kiryu's structure took immense harm. Akane knew if she did not get out of the hold soon, then Kiryu would surely lose. The pilot activated the thrusters to blast Kiryu away from Desghidorah, only for the boosters to not respond. The pilot raced to activate other systems, yet they too failed to activate. As Akane checked the maser cannon, Desghidorah's middle head released its grip of Kiryu's neck and summoned hellish fire to its jaws. Flames that would turn rock into liquid passed over Kiryu's head, bringing a confident smile to Akane. You'd think Kiryu would be affected by this, but no.
I mean, he took. He's taking Godzilla's blast, and I think that's what she.
Not well, though.
Not well, but it was meant to.
Compared to fire,
just pure fire,
it's like a bear.
Fair. Yellow light glowed under the surge of hellish fire, causing Desghidorah's center head to cease his attack. As the flames ended, Desghidorah discovered not a melted corpse, but a foe with nothing more than singed armor. No, singed armor. We've taken far worse, Akane commented before the pilot activated the twin maser cannon in Kiryu's jaws. Pass.
Oh no, he spelled that right.
Man,
Kiryu. Right.
Man, Kiryu. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's how you spell it.
Will
Singe.
you?
It's spelled
Singe?
like Singe.
Damn.
That knowledge bomb.
I'd like to say right now, man, the people who rebuilt Kiryu really loved the Canon cameras. They just equipped them with cameras everywhere, apparently.
It was a giant copyright cover-up. That's what Greyshot said.
Kiryu got to deal with Canon cameras. He's sponsored.
No, you're gonna see that probably a lot with Bello and Bello. That was a very common thing for me too.
Pain surged through the dragon's entire body, causing the other two heads to release their grips. Desghidorah stumbled back, but not before looking back at its foe to witness the unveiling of the blade that had cut off its wing. Remembering the pain the weapon had brought, the dragon started firing his lava gout blast at Kiryu, only for the cyborg to charge through the attack and uppercut the blade through Desghidorah's right head. The other two heads bellowed in extreme agony as the right head instantly died from the impalement. The Kiryu proved far from finished as the blade glowed yellow. Electricity surged through the beast, causing Desghidorah to feel an unparalleled anguish, until the middle head discharged an energy gout blast at the electricity source. The blade snapped, but remained in the dead dragon's head as it fell dead to the ground. Kiryu, continuing its up-close assault, delivered multiple devastating jabs to the dragon. Wait.
Oh yeah.
No, it is.
Okay, this one's just Word document because I remember this one.
Yeah.
Word document
it always does
like,
that.
oh yeah, it's this
Like
one.
autocorrects you to weird things. It always autocorrects things weirdly. It's weird like
Use Google Docs. Use Google Docs.
Delivered multiple devastating jabs to the dragon, only for the beast's left head to latch onto Kiryu.
I'm sorry,
Wait,
I said, Nagoda, you'll have to start from that again, but I'm going to say, use Google Docs when it comes to proofreading.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
But this
I'm
was
just
like
saying,
way before
people,
Google Docs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was the before time.
This was in the Microsoft era.
The
dark times.
Anyways, Kiryu, continuing its up-close assault, delivered multiple devastating jabs to the dragon, only for the beast's left head to latch onto Kiryu's lower right arm. The dragon discharged energy, but its attack did not last long, as the robot grabbed hold of the head with its free left arm. Kiryu, without use of his thrusters and on strength alone, spun around before releasing the beast from its grasp. The momentum was too much, and Desghidorah's head released its grip. Desghidorah skidded across the icy ground until it rammed into the glacier at high speed, creating a crack in the mountainside. Slowly but surely, the three-headed dragon made its way out of the debris cloud. It was growing tired, but the beast's will was still pushing it to fight. Desghidorah, in a last-ditch attempt to defeat his foe, slammed the ground again and caused another fiery rupture in the earth that was larger than the last.
Well, if the worms weren't dead already, they're dead now.
Yep. The full force of the attack struck Kiryu as fires erupted from around it. As the machine disappeared in the flames, Desghidorah screeched in victory until a louder, almost ancient roar cancelled his false hope. The flames dispersed to reveal Kiryu, with a large portion of its armor melted, but far from defeated. Akane breathed forcefully and sweat fell from her forehead. Even with the cooling system's failure, the pilot ignored the intense heat as it compared little to her last engagement.
You may be able to control fire, but I fought an atomic dragon, and he was far more challenging than you.
Kiryu unleashed a massive barrage of rockets into the air, and
Nagoda, you just died there.
Died.
Just start over from Kiryu unleashed a massive barrage.
Desghidorah prepared for their
You'll
impact,
have to start over
only
from
to hint.
Kiryu unleashed. I kind of lost
Okay. Okay. Alright. Kiryu unleashed a massive barrage of rockets into the air, and Desghidorah prepared for their impact, only to hear the sound of distant explosions above him. The two heads of the dragon looked up to see the missiles fly into the mountain wall, followed by the loud sound of ice cracking. Realizing what the machine was doing, Desghidorah launched forward merely to discover the machine's shoulder pack flying directly at him. Kiryu's pack slammed into the dragon and caused Desghidorah to skid across the ice-covered ground and back into the wall. A final twin laser by Kiryu finally caused the ice wall to shatter and fall in mass. Its mission accomplished, Kiryu turned around and walked away, while Desghidorah screamed in utter rage. The dragon's voice echoed for miles until Kiryu's pack detonated, and the avalanche of ice reburied the ancient dragon in an icy tomb.
The famous words of people on this Discord server. Damn.
Akane watched as engineers and small machines maneuvered across the metal giant to repair its fresh wounds. Not an iron giant? Okay. Metal sections were meticulously sliced off, repaired, and replaced within minutes. Nearly a week with modern equipment accomplished what Japan failed to do so in a year.
Guess they are good at something.
Akane chuckled before the sound of footsteps snapped her out of her gaze. You know, you don't have to watch its repairs, Tokumitsu stated comically as he rested on the same railing Akane was leaning on.
Can't let them...
Excuse me.
Can't let them screw it up again, can I?
Akane commented with some humor in her voice.
But why does this place even exist? I don't recall international support when the project was created.
Funny enough, it was for the original Mechagodzilla, Tokumitsu noted. It was to benefit the state of Michigan and establish a secondary repair station for foreign missions. In fact, a secondary diamond shell was created here for the replacements, which sirens rang, red lights began to flash, and the installation personnel moved with a new passion. Akane, as well as Tokumitsu, glanced around for any sign of this panic, only for the speakers to buzz to life. An officer somewhat calmly directed the station's
men. Okay.
Explain.
You kind of cut out there.
Nagoda's one of them. Where am I supposed to go?
Apparently you just cutting out for me, so I just heard you say directed the stations, and you just cut out there. So just go from explaining.
Explaining the dire situation, the words invasion and war echoed most prominently, until a word echoed across the base, a word which caused Tokumitsu to immobilize in terror as a dark memory resurged from the darkest corner of his mind. Exilium.
Hooray!
Winner.
Okay.
Kiryu.
Okay.
When it said like this was for the original Mechagodzilla, I wanted to interrupt and be like,
yeah,
oh,
no, I was thinking that too. They blasted all these memes. Anyway.
Well, actually, this was based off the
IDW?
what was it? I could have. Yeah, I had heard that had done in Michigan. I was like, oh, that's neat. I'll just throw like it's like a slight.
Okay, yeah,
like,
no,
we'll get a nod to that,
in
kinda.
Kingdom of Monsters, Mechagodzilla, they say Mechagodzilla was built in Detroit. So, I mean, the reasoning and rationale given makes perfect sense in my opinion. I think Detroit does make sense. So yeah, no, I gotcha. First, I think I'll be the one to start off to say, I don't know how you feel about a Gray Shot. I kind of like this one. It's not anything crazy. Like, I don't think it's like the most crazy, memorable thing developed in the series. But I think as a sort of like a standalone fight that's just connected into this larger series, clearly, paving the way for the Exilian stuff. I think it's fine. I think Kiryu and Desghidorah put up a solid, decent fight. There are definitely plenty of spelling and certain grammatical errors here and there due to a copyright infringement, but no, I really like this match perfectly fine. Like, I think it does, as far as like average KWC goes, I think it's just like a little bit above the average, but it's still like it's nothing crazy or insane, but it is just sort of like, it's clearly setting up pieces for what's to come next in the series, and lordy, we'll get to that when we get there. So yeah, no, but I think it's a good introduction for Akane. I actually was not expecting Tokumitsu there, believe it or not. I actually, like, I mean, it's been a long time since I've looked it over, but yeah, no, I completely forgot he was there, and was like, ooh, I'm curious to see where his story goes, and see what happens from there. So yeah, no, I think this is an all-around decent match, and I do have to say, I still really like the banner. Like, I know you had certain limitations with it, and also, speaking of banners, welcome to the upscaled banners for the KWC. Listen.
Even though this banner,
I know Grayshot has a lot more history on like the nature of the match and even the banners. I'll let him go over those details, but I will say I really like the banner. Has that nice cold atmosphere to it. Maybe could have been a little bit more transparent on the layer above Kiryu and Desghidorah, but otherwise though, I think it turned out really good. Good job, Grayshot.
It's the first upscale banner.
That's the funny thing. It's like, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, little backstory on the banner. It originally was the size of any normal banner, but then I realized A, this was going to be the first banner in the new size, and B, or at least my match was going to be the first one using this new size, and B, I couldn't change it because I couldn't go back to the original and do any of the alterations because the file had been lost. So I just said F it, and I kind of just made it so ice was like coming in from the sides. It's kind of like the worst up at the top where you can kind of see the issue. Yeah, you can see the kind of like that copy. But regardless,
it's an edge.
Yeah, it's yeah. That was the origination of this banner. But yeah, I still like it. I also, on the note of the match itself, I actually think the dialogue was actually far better than I remembered. I was very happy with how this turned out. Yeah, there was some good lines. The main
that aged surprisingly well.
Really good. Yeah, and Takemitsu and Akane having the heart-to-heart, I thought also worked very nicely, and there were some nice homages to the movie in regards to them laying on the railing and talking, or like mentioning the daughter. Some nice moments, and it also built up a bit of mystery of like, why did Kiryu return? Why did it send these messages? Yeah, so overall, a solid fight, some nice good foreshadowing with, I'd rather die than be put in that ice wall again and then being trapped again. Though as to why there are two Desghidorahs, who knows?
Two Desghidorahs.
Oh,
yeah,
is it because the movie version still happened?
Someone.
Yeah, because Leo still occurs, so there's two Desghidorahs.
Oh, there's two Desghidorahs sealed away. That's not going to have any issues in the future.
Yeah, none whatsoever. Yeah, because there's the one in Japan that got sealed, and there's, for some reason, one in the Canadian mountain range.
Treated. Interesting.
Yeah. So, again, a little strange on that point, but that won't be mentioned. That's not a thing until that won't become a thing and become a callback until later. But
don't worry about
regardless, I actually, so far this is, I'd have to say, a really good match by myself. I'm happy it held up as well. Again, grammatical errors and those issues aside, yeah, I like how this turned out. Also, Sumu, I forgot he was in this one. I forget. And I liked it. Him and Akane going back and forth.
Character
nice
beats
lines
between
there
those two as well, which was like really nice. So again, I think it does enough differently. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but as long as it needs to be too. Like, that's what I like. It's nicely paced. I didn't get bored reading it. I'm super happy with it. So. Alright. Yeah.
But yeah, GDR, I guess. Your thoughts?
I like this one. It was fine. It's just like it's a transitional match. Like, it's in between, but it's still well written. Fun dialogue, fun action. I do have a slight issue with Desghidorah being relegated to just the filler villain role, but that's just like a personal thing. Otherwise, yeah, good stuff.
Oh, I guess I will make note because yeah, it might seem a little weird. Like, what? Desghidorah isn't like burning or taking Mechagodzilla, but my process was like, for me, I think in my mind when I'm writing this match in general, I think Godzilla's atomic ray is more destructive than the hellfire that Desghidorah can spout, because fire is only so hot. You know what I mean? Like, so if like Desghidorah fired it at like, I'm sure like Gazora, it would be a very bad day. But if you fired it like at Rodan Legendary, I don't think Rodan would do anything more than just kind of like stare and then like stab him in the back of the throat. Like, I lived in a volcano. Fire is not going to do much.
So I guess you're just trying to say that you kind of put Godzilla's atomic ray over due to radioactive properties, whereas Desghidorah's fire is just pure fire.
Yeah, exactly. I genuinely think, on regards to, like, you can make note of power scaling, but in regards to what Desghidorah dishes out from the movie and from what I've saw with like Godzilla, it's like, okay, Godzilla probably is hitting a lot harder than Desghidorah is.
I get what you mean,
like,
but I have to disagree because from the research I did and looking at the footage again from the movie, Desghidorah's hellfire does cause earthquakes, or it's the same ground rupture attack as the other thing. So I think Desghidorah's hellfire is stronger than Godzilla's.
Like, I feel like Desghidorah's fire isn't just regular fire.
No.
I feel like
obviously nothing that would affect the actual whoever gets hit, but it's clearly powerful enough to cause giant friggin' whatchamacallits. What do you call crevices? There's a specific name. Gosh darn it, I can't think of it.
Great canyons in the earth that belch fire. Okay. Well, yeah, just explaining, because I heard you guys like, huh?
Right.
Like, and that's where like it's coming from.
At the
that's
time
where,
this was
like,
written, it makes sense because I think we all probably would have been on the same page. But it's hindsight. It is insert year here. I think we have more information on Desghidorah now than we did back then. So yeah, it's just sort of weird, but I could see how, like, Desghidorah is supposed to be sort of like a big villain type, but I can see how he could be sort of relegated to just villain of the day sort of thing. I can kind of see it, kind of.
Yeah, I understand the logic, but I just personally disagree. Is the thing.
Ah, gotcha.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, no, like I said, I quite enjoyed this one. That was just like a little personal thing, but overall, like I said, just good stuff.
All right. Nagoda, what'd you think of 151?
It's a really fun match. I like the whole entire Arctic battle, the taking the breaking an entire mountain to bury someone in ice land again. We need more of those. I like how even though like you said this was just to make the banner bigger, but like the title itself is behind all the frozen things. Like it looks like it's about to be frozen with the banner. What's it called? Also, I like how you mentioned like how you put in the absolute zero cannon doesn't work this time because it never works how it's supposed to. It never actually hits things unless if they're right in front of them, being hugged and thrown into the ocean.
Actually, come to think of it, maybe this is a bit of a spoiler, but I don't think it ever really works in any of even in like future Kiryu installments. I think there's always been like, it never gets the kill. It's like the Kienzan for Krillin.
If it does,
it's never going to happen.
A villain that can resist it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know 164 has Monster X get hit by it, but he
Spoilers?
survives. Oh, it's
Spoilers.
a match that's
At
like
this point,
years old. It's like 6 years old.
Some people haven't finished reading it yet, GBR. You never know.
Great Shot's written like 2 whole arcs past it. Catch up.
It's the match we're on the road to.
Anyways, this was a really fun match.
No, go ahead.
What? Oh, I said this was a really fun match overall.
Alright. But yeah, no. Do we have any additional thoughts or facts or points to bring up, or do we think we're good?
You sponsored by Canon cameras.
Alright, and I think with that said, this has been match 151. We'll see you guys next time for match 152. Till then, everyone.
Bye.
Later.
See ya.